Angels Irk. Sneaky 1980 says at John Pride dude which ally you in? John Pride says, VIOL 8. Uniball out says, that doesn't look like a fair fight. John Pride says, LOL I don't think it's supposed to be. Sneaky 1980 says, it's not about fair fights. Captains to 72 says, who cares about fair? Daopa says, the orange just sniped one of the blue. Bawak says, MOA can stay out of the Caracal's range. Uniball out says, so orange found blue. Chilman says, what did they kill? John Pride says, funny thing is. Uniball out says, an attacked. John Pride says, goons can just jump the gate if they have to. Bawak says, they killed a frigate. Ding Bata says, MOA are bringing in more ships. Sneaky 1980 says, mighty MOA Kappa. Ding Bata says, watch the jumps, 3 more MOA joined up with them, they are building up. Nicola says, why are goons so bad at get sniped / bombed every time feels bad man. LIOYD2K says, pew pew. Willithuisp says, who am I rooting for? John Pride says at Nicola 1809, cause they like taking it up the Ugarden Tolver road this is bad p. Captains to 72 says, goons. Ukake says, noon at Willithuisp's p. Nicola says, Kappa. Novames says, Jon Snow is alive. Uniball out says, but the MOA are just a freelance group that hate the Imperium and harass them. Daopa says, Kappa. Ding Bata says, pew pew. John Pride says at Uniball out, that's one way to explain it yup. Sneaky 1980 says, MOA is a joke. LUCAS 444719 says, hello. Daopa says, hi Lucas. MARC0 UK says, are we expecting cool fights on Twitch tonight? Endraris says, what did I miss? Captains to 72 says, not missed anything yet. Uniball out says, what are the blue doing, what are those lasers doing? Sneaky 1980 says, Mitten is a woman. Sneaky 1980 says, Kappa. Nicola says, Kappa. Captains to 72 says, they are remote repping each other it looks like. Daopa says, yellow effect is doing cap transfer. Bakura says, about that Spectre fleet. Did they get lost on their way here? Bakura says, wouldn't be the first time. Kappa. Captains to 72 says, Spectre Fleet 1800. Sneaky 1980 says, remote reps equals healing each other. John Pride says at Uniball out, the yellow/orangish stuff are remote cap transfers. Recharging each other's capacitor. John Pride says, looks like they're chanting one up, one down. Sneaky 1980 says, those are Caracals or Serbs. John Pride says, Caracals probably. John Pride says, knowing goons, they use T1 Ugarden Tolver wrote this is bad for throwaway doctrines. Stukya says, Karas are cheaper. Sneaky 1980 says, no SRP FOTT2 left. Uniball out says, what is the blue effect? Chilman says, look at the type column in the overview. John Pride says, Caracals/Ospreys is what I remember seeing on their doctrine list before RP left. John Pride says at Sneaky 1980, they'll SRP them 100%. Scotted 0GG says, I need a POOO. Reeton LaJoy says, hi. Can someone explain what is going on the stream? Reeton LaJoy says, some gate camp. John Pride says, 90% of goons don't insure their ships. Captains to 72 says at Scotty Dog grab your phone and go. MARC0 UK says, the blue effect is shield transfer. King Kong Clown says, I miss my dual MWD Typhoon. Bakura says, blue is defending, attackers are on their way. John Pride says, although that's said. John Pride says, I can see them performing insurance fraud here. Izashui says, Corms. Izashui says, LMFAO. Izashui says, never change MOA. John Pride says, Peace SRP is 50% and only applies to some situations. STRAT/War SRP applies to all strategic fleets run by a official FC. Sholvin says, Kolkat / Stukya says, more MOA. Deopa says, Dingbata says, everyone get your MOA hype on. Sholvin says, ho 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 hapa. Uniball out says, blue left. Bawak says, that last Caracal is AFK. Bawak says, RIP. Captains to 72 says, bloody ads. Where'd they go? Nikola says, Sholvin, Kappa / Sneaky 1980 says, I'm playing without my pants. I'm cool right? Kappa. Sholvin says, Nakudu ho 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 ho. Uniball out says, can Orange follow them? Does Orange know where they went? Captains to 72 says, last Caracal was a perch maybe. Entraris says, Hui way. Bawak says, last Caracal is asleep. Sneaky 1980 says, I want babies from the Mitten Kappa. John Pride says, well. Ukake says, you can have them if you spy for him. John Pride says, that's one dead Caracal then. Nikola says, ZH00000L0L0L00L00L00 Ven Kappa. Sneaky 1980 says, no SRP for that one LOL. John Pride says, probably not LOL. Nicola says, I.mgur/k2oak.jpg. Captains to 72 says, ooh, rate a skin. John Pride says, he's gonna get sniped. Ding Bata says, here it goes. John Pride says, and caught. John Pride says, bye. Cake says, rib. Ding Bata says, rib. Zurich says, F. Sneaky 1980 says, kaboom. Nicola says, F. Willithuisp says,